Hello and welcome to Firstpost Africa. I'm Alyson Grange, coming to you live from Johannesburg, South Africa, and this is our special election result broadcast. The 2024 election result is out, and it has opened a new chapter in South Africa's politics. What had seemed unimaginable once has come true today. A political party that has been at the helm since the 1994, the African National Congress, has lost its 3-decade-old absolute majority, and the slump has been catastrophic. What are the reasons behind the failure of Mandela's party? Which way will this result steer South Africa's politics? Is Ramaphosa's second term as president a distant dream now? And will South Africa see a proxy president, with former President Jacob Zuma being the decision maker? The verdict of the people of South Africa is out. Winds of change are sweeping the country. The election result has certainly been historic in more ways than one. For the ruling African National Congress, it was predicted to go badly, but turned out to be worse. In fact, for the ANC, this has been the worst election result since the end of apartheid. First, let's get straight to the numbers. Now, the voter turnout in the 2024 election stood at around 58.6%. South Africa's Election Commission had predicted it to cross last year's 66% mark. Voter turnout in South Africa has been dropping year on year. Coming to the votes now, the African National Congress has lost its 3-decade-old absolute majority. It is down to 40% of the vote. The opposition party Democratic Alliance is the one with the second largest vote. John Steenhuisen's party got 21.7% of the vote. In third place is former President Jacob Zuma's MK party, and that certainly ate into the ANC's support. The MK party stands with 14.59% of the vote. Julius Malema's Economic Freedom Fighters, or the EFF, stood in fourth with 9.51%. Now, like I said earlier, the drop in the ANC's vote is a historic turning point for South Africa. The party has enjoyed absolute majority since 1994, when Nelson Mandela steered the country out of white minority rule into a democracy. The ANC had won every election by a landslide so far, but over the last decade, its support has been dwindling. In 2019, the party secured 57.5% of votes. In 2014, it was a little over 62%, and it was even higher in the 2009 election. Voters appear to have punished Mandela's party for years of decline in the country. Over the last decade, South African economy has witnessed stagnation. Unemployment and poverty rates have been climbing, and infrastructure has been crumbling, leading to regular power cuts. Not just this, the ANC has also been racked by repeated corruption scandals. Now, the final results will be formally announced soon here in Johannesburg.
While the ANC has won the most votes in this election, the results show a significant decline in the ANC support from previous elections. While there are several factors that have contributed to the decline in support, the results send a clear message to the ANC. We wish to assure the people of South Africa that we have heard them. We have heard their concerns, their frustrations, and their dissatisfaction.
But as the counting of ballots concluded, some parties alleged discrepancies. The largest and the most vocal was former President Jacob Zuma. His MK party warned the election authorities against going ahead with the final announcements. Despite the MK performing surprisingly well for a party just founded months ago, Zuma says he would challenge the election results in court.
Don't start trouble when there is no trouble. Give the political parties, which I think they are a majority, the chance to present their cases, their information, their everything. Don't rush us. We're here for peace, do everything nicely. That's why, because we knew we needed 2/3 majority. Don't try to interfere with that by doing all the tricks. This is what we want to bring in public.
So it's no longer a recount. We want a total re-vote, is one thing that we're contemplating, of which is a decision that we will still communicate accordingly. We are going to request for a commission of inquiry into this process, into these elections, in order for us to get down to the bottom of exactly what transpired. And we are going to push for that. Gone are the days when people are going to rig the future of the downtrodden children of this country.
The Election Commission, however, says the result process remained transparent and uncompromised.
The results management process anywhere in the world, in any election, is the most sensitive part of the election management. And in this regard, the Commission is mindful that all electoral stakeholders must remain confident in the integrity of the results management process as a whole. The Commission is pleased to indicate that the result systems have remained functional and uncompromised throughout the current results compilation process.
Now, for more on this, we have with us political analyst Kani Magubane, who is joining us live from Johannesburg. Hi, Kani. Thank you so much for being with us on Firstpost Africa. So taking us through these elections, looking at the ANC's performance, this is the first time in 30 years that they have dipped below the absolute majority. This is a big blow, of course, for the ANC. What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely, it is a massive blow for the ANC, and it's one that none of us could have ever anticipated. I had predicted much more optimistically, to be honest. I had put them at least 51% because they were sitting at a very healthy number in 2019. We saw the ANC at 57.5% in 2019, and I thought, well, what's the worst? Maybe 51, but South Africans have spoken, and South Africans are saying that they no longer want the ANC in power. It was devastating to watch the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, hang his face in shame, having clerics and pastors praying over him as the numbers started to paint a very clear picture that the ANC had lost its majority that it has enjoyed for the past 30 years. Now, there has been some sentiment, of course, that there has been vote rigging and that the numbers have been tampered with. And my sentiment really is that every party like the MK that has come forward and has put forward accusations at the IEC's door and has said at least 25 parties still have objections that are not dealt with. In my personal opinion, I think it would be in the best interest of the IEC to perhaps delay results announcement at 6 p.m. to accommodate all of these objections instead of going ahead as if those objections don't really count, because that is going to fuel the agitation which already the MK is already threatening. So if the IEC does not act in a manner that shows that they take these objections seriously, it's really going to put even our national security at risk in South Africa. So these next couple of hours are very critical in our democracy. We are all waiting with bated breath to hear what's going to happen at 6 p.m.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kani, talking about the MK, they have done surprisingly well in these elections, considering they are such a new party. What do you make of the MK's performance?
I think it has surprised all of us. I don't think any of us would have thought the MK would have surged even past the EFF. I mean, if we're just looking at the numbers, the EFF in 2019 were the third largest performer, sitting at 10.80%. But with the MK's 14.61%, that places the EFF back into fourth place behind the MK. And there's no doubt that former President Jacob Zuma has been the draw card of the MK, and that even though there were internal fights and there was internal conflict, the MK has surprisingly still managed to perform, I think, even better than their own expectations. And there's actually suspicion that a lot of ANC members voted for the MK because everybody is alone in the ballot box, you know, and people make individual decisions. So also we need to ask who voted for the MK, you know, who gave the MK their votes. It's ordinary South Africans, you know, who've given them. The only danger with that is that the MK has no track record of any governance anyway. You know, they've never run a district, they've never run a municipality. They may have individuals within the party that have been in public service, but as an entity, they're untested. So it could possibly work very well, or it could possibly be disastrous. None of us really know what an MK government is going to look like. But what we are seeing so far, the characteristics of the MK is that if they don't get what they want, they resort to violent threats. And that's worrying.
Yeah, that is worrying. Connie, stay with us while we take a look at some other elements of this story. We'll come right back to you.
Thank you.